Welcome back to another weekly vlog. I'm limited for time today, so I'm going to have to get through this one as quickly as I can. She called this one Health Updates / Results, Going Back to the Hospital and Keemstar's Mad at Me. It's a sentence so saturated with nonsense that it feels like a cry for help from the very concept of narrative structure itself. So she's back, again, to the hospital again, telling us the same story with slightly different punctuation. Again. She begins, as always, with a sigh and a fabricated sense of gravity. Hey guys, welcome to the weekly vlog. I normally try to start these uplifting. Yes, nothing sets the tone for hope and sunshine like a wheezing eulogy of your own health spiral. Within the first 10 seconds she's going through it, as though she is the one being dragged by fate rather than clutching the leash and marching herself right into the ER. What follows feels like an hour of recycled trauma porn, told in the breathless voice of someone who wants sympathy but refuses introspection. Chest pain, D-dimer, CT scans, EKG, rinse, repeat. We've heard this before, and we will hear it again. I'm not a chest pain girly pop, she says. I would rather stab out my eardrums with antique silverware than hear the term girly pop used to describe heart attack symptoms. She claims she didn't want to waste anyone's time, but she built a brand on wasting time. That is the content. That's her shtick. At this point, the ER should just name a gurney after her. The Amber Throne, permanently reserved, padded with delusion. They found no blood clot, but the dread lingers. Not because of what was found, but because she's realised that she can milk not having a blood clot for even longer than actually having one. And then we pivot, whiplash truly, from the fear of death to standing outside a Denny's. Is this not just the most Amberlynn Reid transition imaginable? Going from I might die to would you like pancakes with that pulmonary scare? She thanks her mother for taking her to the ER like it's a mall run. And of course, she was just recognised by so many people. People don't believe I get recognised, she says. No, they don't. Recognition requires relevance, and you're not a celebrity. You're a cautionary tale with a camera. She treats the hospital like a therapist, and the vlog like a confessional booth, and the audience like a praise machine. She feels dumb for going back to the ER. Not because it was unnecessary, but because she didn't get the dopamine hit she was chasing. No attention, no martyrdom, just a nurse telling her to follow up again. I don't deny that she's unwell. I deny that she's doing anything meaningful about it. She's not going through it. She's manufacturing it. So there's no blood clot, no progress, and no point. We next join her on day 70,000 of the ongoing saga of things that might be wrong but never quite are. She's now talking about her live stream in which health paranoia, lip balm, and prepackaged salads coexist in some grotesque ballet of self-importance. She begins this portion of the vlog by forcing herself to livestream for her members. A noble sacrifice. A true martyr. She entered the stream with high hopes, despite saying seconds earlier that she almost cancelled it. And then she tells us the live was wonderful, uplifting. A tale as old as time. Dread the stream, love the stream, forget, repeat. Next, she's in the deepest of productive spirals, cleaning a toilet at 2 a.m. She's nocturnal now, apparently. Like a possum but less useful. We're then subjected to a chef salad segment. Riveting stuff. The woman's idea of suspense is whether or not she has red onion in the house. Spoiler, she doesn't. Cue dramatic weeping. She forgot to draw on her eyebrows and retroactively inserts a disclaimer into a video. The drama, the heartbreak. How do we as a society recover from this? Next is a monologue on shampoo and hair oil. Because when you click on a video titled Hospital Updates, we're desperate to know what brand of conditioner she uses. It literally dries and leaves your hair shiny, she says. Thanks. How brave of you to share this during such a vulnerable time. And then, finally, back to the regularly scheduled chaos. A game of phone tag with the mysterious referral centre. She's called upwards of 20 times, which is a shocking display of effort from someone who normally can't commit to a single nutritional plan for more than a day. She's trying to snatch early appointment openings via text. Responded within 3 minutes, but someone else beat her. I'll respond even faster next time, she says. She's stalking the clinic like it owes her money. This isn't Black Friday, Amber. You're not going to win a TV. You're just going to be weighed, judged, and given advice that we know you'll ignore. Then she's getting ready for bingo, and she informs us with the trembling gravitas of a Victorian widow that she's a little triggered. Fridays are usually the day I vape. The solemnity with which this is delivered is astonishing. This isn't a confession, it's a eulogy. It's a funeral for her cheap little vape pen. Apparently, seeing that mysterious lung thing still lingering in her scan results was enough to hurl the vapes into the void. 4 days clean. Praise be, someone alert the Vatican. It's part of her ritual, she tells us. Because vaping while waiting for DoorDash is the mark of a deeply spiritual woman. One can only imagine the sacred energy coursing through the air as she blesses her McDonald's with a vape fog. The dramatics are just endless. We're told she's sad, that it's hard, that she's shocked to realise she was dependent on it. Amber, you're addicted to instant gratification. Whether it's food, vapes, sympathy, views, you consume it all like oxygen. Vaping was never about the flavour or the fun. It's just a controlled buzz to distract from the void that's her life. And then we descend into the depths of bingo theory. It's groundbreaking. She describes the bingo hall with more enthusiasm than she gave her medical test results. She goes on and on about the cigarette fans, the endless chatter, the comforting chaos. I've never heard someone speak so fondly of an ashtray with chairs. And now, the crescendo, she tells us she sent a super chat to Keemstar's LOLcow Live. Amber, sweetheart, when you're actively sending money to a show that basically refers to you as livestock, the conversation about whose butthurt has already ended, and you lost. He wants me bad, she says. Darling, he wants content. He wants views. He wants to poke you with a stick to see if you moo. You're not a guest, you're a spectacle. She says she doesn't think she'd ever be a host. And of course she wouldn't. No one's offering. You're not the MC, you're the intermission clown. She says she's conflicted, that people want her to do it and others tell her not to do it. What she means is that she wants to, desperately, but she's already rehearsing the victim arc for when it goes poorly. She's convinced herself she's making a career choice, when in reality she's just deciding whether or not to lean further into being exploited for attention. She'll call it popping in, but make no mistake, if she joins any show like this, it won't be as a peer, it'll be as the punchline. She's just babbling in circles. She's unsure what she'll do, craving relevance, and stuck in a fantasy where her haters are just jealous fans in denial. Amber, people don't want you on their channels because you're engaging. They want you because you're predictable, because your chaos is neatly packaged, looped, and monetizable. You're not the main character, you're the meme. Her mother gives her a gift, a cherry ornament of all things, and she reacts like she's been given some sacred relic. Yes, Amber, it's a cherry, the peak of maternal sentimentality. At this point, I'm shocked she hasn't named it and given it a backstory. She spends forever trying to decide where to place it so it appears in the background of her videos. Of course she does. Nothing in her home exists for function. It exists to decorate the brand. We boomerang from cherries to 7-Eleven to sobriety conventions in the span of a few breathless minutes. Her life is just edited like a fever dream. And then it's off to celebrate her mother's sobriety. I'm so excited, she says, with the convincing tone of a hostage blinking out on SOS. And then the great beverage dilemma. She debates between Gatorade Zero or water like she's defusing a bomb. But shock horror, there's no Amazon haul this week. The silence is deafening. The void is palpable. Could this be the end of her consumerism era? She also hasn't built any Lego this week, and we're told this with the kind of guilt usually reserved for war crimes. She's simply been busy. Doing what, we'll never know. And then out of nowhere comes Scentbird. 5 perfumes a month. She rattles it off with the breathless joy of a woman who hasn't had a real personality trait since 2018. And then, of course, tarot time. 3 decks are drawn, and this, of course, is where she launches into another earnest speech about becoming a better version of herself. I'm going to love myself. I'm going to love my body. I'm going to love my heart. It's a beautiful sentiment, repeated for the 50th time this year. Amberlynn Reid is always on the precipice of change, the edge of transformation. but she never jumps. She just stands there narrating the view. Her weekly vlogs are just nesting dolls of nothing. Each one opens to reveal a smaller, sadder one inside. We were promised hospital updates in Keemstar's Wrath. What we got was a cherry figurine, some watery soda, and a woman trying to convince herself that change is just around the corner. But she's been rounding that corner for over a decade. And that was Amberlynn's weekly vlog 9. A performance of transformation with no climax. A documentary with no plot. You didn't change, Amber. You got some new perfume. And that, darling, is not a glow-up. It's a distraction.